So hello everyone and welcome. My name is Rohit Gautam. I have a startup in cybersecurity in Mumbai known as Hacktify Cybersecurity, where we train individuals about network pen testing, bug bounty hunting, web application security, etc. I am a certified cybercrime intervention officer for the ISAC programs, which is certified and empaneled by NSD, which is National Security Database. I also worked with different organizations into their security team as a cybersecurity consultant and have an experience of last 5 years. I really love to identify new ways that would help in upskilling our methodology in doing bug bounties or pen tests. So in today's talk, I'm going to share some of my techniques that I have identified and has been useful to me, which can be useful to you as well, if you can apply this into your methodology. All right. So before we start, a disclaimer, this talk is entirely based on extensive research from various tools and experience from the internet. I would request every one of you to keep yourself on mute. If you have any question, feel free to post that question into the chat. At the end, we'll take the last 5 to 10 minutes for questions and answers as well, in which you can continuously ask your questions and I will allow you to unmute. Meanwhile, if you have any question, any query, any feedback that you want to give, please post it into the chat box. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. What to expect out of this talk today? Tips and tricks to make you better. I'm going to share some of the techniques that I have identified to be very useful and has helped me in my pen tests and bug bounties. I'm not going to disclose any new zero day today, none of the private programs. I'm going to definitely share some of the script snippets and one-liners that will be helpful for you, which does the job of you being more efficient when you're hunting on any program. Before we start this session, let's read out the Zen poem. To follow the path, look to the master, follow the master, walk with the master, see through the master, and finally become the master. So what are bug bounties if you have never heard about it? I'm sure that all the participants who have joined today would be aware about bug bounties. As we see, we are getting digital so fast. And in COVID-19 downturn as well, we saw a lot of organizations moving towards online platforms. We saw a gradual shift towards work from home culture as well, in which we as individuals were also forced to do our day-to-day activities on online platforms. We started using various digital media applications which were never used. Also, organizations were also forced to migrate to use online platforms, due to which what happened? Organizations did not have a very, very strong security framework. They migrated to online platforms, but they kept their assets open. Now, when these assets were kept open, which are their domains, their firewalls, their subdomains, their internal admin panels, employee login panels, etc., it was identified by the bad people, which are the threat actors or malicious actors, and was getting exploited. This also gave an opportunity to security researchers like you and me and bug bounty hunters to identify valid vulnerabilities and report into organizations, due to which there has been a drastic increase in organizations getting reports for all their assets in this time period, as well as there was a very big scope that got opened up for bug bounty hunters and security researchers as well to identify more vulnerabilities than before, because now they were able to identify those targets which were never publicly accessible. They were able to identify those assets, subdomains, panels, APIs, which were never publicly exposed or which never existed. This has helped bug bounty hunters a lot in reporting security vulnerabilities and making platforms safe. So we are going to do, what is the agenda for today? I've already said about my introduction. We are going to discuss about bug bounties, what is recon, how to do better recon, some of the tricks that will help you. Then we'll wrap up, and at the end we'll have Q&A. Okay, so let's discuss about bug bounties. What are the expectations that generally people have with bug bounties? Is, as you can see on your left, people think it's free, easy money. We see a lot of security researchers, bug bounty hunters posting screenshots, posting tweets about huge bounties that they have achieved. $500, $1,000, $50,000, and so on. But do we know the reality? What actually is being invested to identify that vulnerability? It's perseverance, persistence, and pushing yourself to identify that specific valid bug, which was missed by the internal security team or other hunters. So if you ever see a post which says, I was able to identify a vulnerability on a very big program or a very old program in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, think about the amount of time, efforts, and energy that was put by the researcher in getting that specific bug in 5 minutes. It is just not like that trial and error that you think that you need to get lucky and you pick up a program and in 5 minutes you identify a valid bug. And if you're very lucky, you might also get a bug, but you always have to make sure that it's constant learning of hours that is later on converted into those 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So never get disappointed, demotivated. If you ever go on a website in the initial time period of 30 minutes or an hour, if you don't find a security flaw, that's absolutely okay. You need to put your time, invest your time, understand the application, understand the functionalities, and then later draw attack pattern on the entire web application and identify vulnerabilities. There's no magic that happens in bug bounties. So before we start and move ahead, these are the top 10 rules that I recommend to anyone who's a beginner, intermediate, or expert. You have to choose a right bug bounty program. I see a lot of people who are trying to break through in bug bounties make a mistake. They don't choose a right program. What does this mean? They tend to focus more towards high-paying rewards program, wherein which these programs are already being tested multiple times by different security researchers. I'm absolutely not saying that you might not be able to identify a vulnerability, but the possibilities are less initially when you are a beginner and you're trying to learn about new concepts. So pick the right program. Try to stick to programs that gives you points or gives you Hall of Fame instead of a reward. Why? Because this will help you boost your self-confidence and you would be able to slowly and steadily identify more vulnerabilities, get more exposure towards how web applications are being created, get more hold of functionalities of how the request looks like when you capture it, a request in Burp Suite, how a response look like, etc. Choosing the right bug bounty program initially is very important. Second, bug bounties is not about running scanners. And if you think that I would run a scanner on a website and get paid, everyone would have been a millionaire today. So always remember, bug bounty program is never about running automated scanners on websites. It might help in a rare case sometimes, but 99% of times running scanners doesn't work. Do you think organizations who host a bug bounty program like Google, Facebook, wouldn't be able to buy a scanner the same way? Wouldn't the internal security team would be running the same scanner on the website? So if you do the same thing, try to reinvent the same wheel, it is not going to work out. So first thing, manual testing or manual approach is the best approach to identify vulnerabilities in which you would be able to uncover those flaws which are being missed by these scanners. Third, this might sound a little bit absurd that we do bug bounties to get rewards, get money, but here I'm saying don't expect rewards. This is one mantra that has helped me and to a lot of people who I'm connected to. Do not expect a reward from a program. Let it be a surprise. What happens is when you try to connect a bug bounty programs with a reward, when you try to report a security vulnerability, you wait for the program to give you back a response for that specific period of time. There is a lot of anxiety, excitement that goes in within you. And if unfortunately the program says the bug report is duplicate, you will not be paid, there could be a lot of emotional and behavioral changes in yourself, which might cloud your vision towards bug bounties. You might feel burned out or demotivated, or you even won't do bug bounties for a certain specific period of time. So always make sure you don't expect reward. What I generally do is whenever I report vulnerabilities or do a pen test engagement, I always let the reward be a surprise that always makes me happy and I don't feel burned out, even if my report is a duplicate, even if it goes as not applicable, the asset was not in scope, or the asset has been recently removed from scope, etc.